This is Incorporatezimcast.
This is Incorporatezimcast.
That's true. That's false. The podcast is live. The Zim dream is alive.
I agree.
Welcome to the Incorporatezimcast.
This is Incorporatezimcast with your host, Joe Sana.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? Thank you for hopping on to our second episode of the Incorporatezimcast podcast. And today we've got the co-founder of Incorporatezimcast, Tinote Namchangwa, and along with him as the guest of the day, Willard Kachere. I'm gonna let you, Tino, just say anything you want to just kick us off.
Perfect. Let's do that. So I'm real excited. This is our first guest, Willard, in the building. Thank you a lot, brother. Thank you for coming through. If you've seen Willard, you've hosted on our page. I don't think it was less than about 5 months ago now. It's been some time, bro. It's been some time since you.
Yeah.
But Willard is someone I always looked up to, man. You know, one thing about Willard that stands out and which makes him unique and the perfect person to start off this podcast is just his mindset. I won't lie to you from the go. Willard reminds me a lot of me because he radiates positivity. You know what I mean? And once you have positivity, people are automatically attracted to you. You know, and he has this energy, he has this life. So I'm real excited to have Willard on the platform. He can give himself like a brief introduction.
Yeah, that's cool. Willard, no one else can say it better than you, so go ahead and tell people who you are and what you do.
All right. Thanks for this opportunity, gents. My name is Willard Kachere. People call me Will K. I'm a serial entrepreneur, philanthropist coming up.
There you go.
We're in the works. But yeah, basically that's just me. I'm a life coach also, but I'm so honored to be a part of this movement because I feel that what Incorporatezim is doing, you guys are trying to catch the whole generation through video, you know, through audio, you know, through still pictures and everything. You know, you're touching every single part of, you know, the ways to reach people. And I'm super excited to be a part of this because, look, you know, I believe that we will change the world one mind at a time because everything starts in the mind. Because, you know, seeing how you guys are doing your thing, you know, it started off with brilliant minds. And, you know, I'm happy that you guys are continuing forward. And, you know, I can't wait to get to the 10th year anniversary and be like, guys, it's been a decade, you know, and, you know, I will still be the first person to ever be on Incorporatezimcast. So, yeah, I'm excited.
We're
all excited.
Thanks, man.
What I really like about what you just said was that you're a life coach. Does that mean like you're a motivational speaker? And what stuff are you actually teaching people about? What stuff have people come to you for?
Look, people come to me for all sorts of things, you know, be it family. I have my own complicated family issues that I'm not afraid to talk about because it's reality. It's there.
Yeah.
And I'm a very open book. So I share my story because through sharing my story, I hope that someone is going to catch on and someone is going to be encouraged to actually open up. Because what kills our generation is not opening up. You know, so for the longest time, I'm happy that people are now starting to talk about mental health a lot more because it's something that people were suffering with, but they just never used to open up. But by us, you know, the people that are out here, you know, being the public figures, being in the forefront, if we open up, it then opens a door for other people to open up. So I talk about anything and everything with people. And if I'm not particularly versed in that certain subject, I'll refer them to someone who can help them. But I try and share my experiences as much as possible because it's more personal. And I just share what worked for me. It may not work for them, but at least they know that they're not alone in this. So, yeah, it's just mindset. We talk about love. We talk about family. We talk about anything. You know, we just have conversations. So I love talking.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Tino, you want to say anything on top of that?
Yes. You know, we're talking on mental health, and you know, one thing that really spoke to me about Willard is your time on Create Zim, where you spoke about, employability, just being anxious about being, finding a job and all this stuff. And, you spoke on a number of things, but it was really powerful because you talked about how the situation in Zim, you coming from Australia because you were in Australia. If we didn't touch on that, Willard was in Australia. And he recently moved back to Zimbabwe. And he talks about how, when he came back, obviously things went right in Zim. The economy is letting us down. There's so many things against us. But he talks about how he had a strong mindset, and he had an idea where he would only focus on positivity. And this focused on, change. Just take us back, Willard, from when you came back from Australia and you came back to Zim, and just how you've been able to create all that you've created since. Just take us back through your experience.
All right, cool. So the way I actually came back was so funny because I went to China on a business trip, and then I got a massive opportunity in China. They asked me how long it's going to take for me to get back to Zim and set up shop. I told them 3 months. So then they say to my partner, my business partner in Chinese, they say to him, "This guy is not serious." My partner looks at me and he says, "You're not serious." And I've never been told those words. I don't think I've ever been told those words in such a long time.
Yeah,
At that
straight to the
point,
point.
at that point, what I did was I left China, passed through Malaysia, I really cut my time in Malaysia, passed through Malaysia, went back to Australia, got there and came back to Zim. Literally.
Just like that.
Just like that. It happened just like that. Ended up here, and then we're now pushing. We're in a partnership with a Chinese company. They're into like solar energy and stuff, and that partnership is going really well, despite everything. But from that, I get here, and the first thing, everybody is just complaining. I used to meet very few people that were positive, which was a big thing for me because I remember a couple of years ago, there was this saying, like everyone was saying it. I think because everyone is saying it, everyone just hops on. But I'm not in the business of hopping onto people's problems. That's not my forte.
Right, love that.
I can appreciate that you have problems. I can appreciate that times are tough, yes, but I won't make that my daily mantra. There was a couple years ago, people were saying, "Marea escute direra," meaning there's so few US dollars in circulation, things are hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you then ask the question, like, you keep saying, there's no circulation of this US dollar, you keep talking about it. But the question is, how much of that US dollar would be in your pocket if everything is normal? Those are the questions, people need to ask themselves before they just start complaining, because I feel like people complain because other people are complaining.
Yeah.
And then there are those that just complain when things are going super well, but they're just complaining because everyone else is complaining.
Right.
I was like,
That's to touch up on that, Willard. I really like the fact that you brought that up because I feel, also being an entrepreneur, one thing that I've realized is, it was about 2017 when I started my first own company. I had experience working with my parents' company and everything, but then I wanted to really create something that was my own, you know what I mean? Yeah, I still do the family stuff, but then I wanted at least something that I could say, this is mine from the ground. And I read a lot of books, and that's when I started. I read my first book in 2017. I've been in high school, I've got A-levels, I do all these type of things, but I was never a reader. I used to say to myself in high school, I will never read a book. But then when I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I was like, okay, let me study successful people. And one thing that was more common than every other successful person, because everyone has their different way of doing business or what they feel you're supposed to do in business. But the common thing that was there was everyone was talking about have a positive mindset, even in a negative situation. Because it's like the pandemic that's going on right now. There are still people that have realized the positive in the pandemic and attack the positive side and can still make income from that. Because, but then the general population will probably complain that this is not happening. And I'm just gonna use America as an example. The economy in America has been booming for about the past 10 years, let's say, right? And now we're in a pandemic and the economy just dropped. But there's people that were still poor during the booming years are still poor now, and they're complaining that the economy is bad. But they were still poor even when the economy was booming. And I was watching this thing the other day, and it was just saying, why are people complaining that the economy is bad, but you've had 10 years to work yourself and build enough to protect yourself from that pandemic that's going to happen? Because now you talk about passive income. People don't know what passive income is. You look at people, they still work that job, which is not bad at all, but they're not investing in any instruments that allow them to earn income aside from their job that will allow them to save up for times like these. And that's where you look at the difference in mindsets between somebody who achieves a lot and somebody who achieves less.
Yeah, straight. I like what you said there. Because you see, the thing is, people get this, like anything that they're presented with, instead of looking for the positives, they look for the negatives. So when the whole COVID thing happened, I felt really bad for all the countries that were, going through it, because obviously, we can't even ignore the fact that so many people passed on from this pandemic.
Yeah.
May they rest in peace. But also, now that we are here and we're being told to stay at home, what can I do to make sure that whatever I do during this pandemic may then propel me in the second half of the year? That's what people didn't even think about. People were so in a rush to say, let's cancel 2020. Let's cancel 2020. And, I see some public figures, they were even, forefront for this. Like, they were in the front, like, let's cancel 2020. But to be honest, that's not what they were doing. Those people were grinding. They were in the trenches. Just like myself, I was in the trenches. Ever since I got back from Australia, I've been in the trenches. I was just working. When people were complaining, I was working. COVID came through. I'm still working. And I was talking to Tino and I was telling him, funny enough, I think these first 6 months of the year, this is my best financial year yet.
Agreed.
Same goes to me. And I can touch up, I can add to that, because over here in America, they went on that shutdown. I think late February, early March, they started shutting down the whole thing. And what I do as an entrepreneur, I sat down and I said, okay, I'm going to be in the house for the next 3 or 4 months. What am I going to do to get myself some income? So I assessed what businesses were doing. Businesses were shutting down. But within businesses shutting down, they're going to have to find a different way to operate. And so a lot of these small businesses don't have websites in America. The massive companies, they have websites. But the small businesses don't have websites. And what I just asked myself was, okay, that's an opportunity right there. A lot of these small businesses want to go and get websites, of which the companies that will make you websites, they charge a hell lot for a small business that's going through a pandemic. So what I did was I taught myself how to code, taught myself how to design websites. Within, I think, a week and a half, I literally just shut my door, hammered on for hours. And then I called up this other lady. You know how they say work your power base, and your power base means work the people that you know first before you try and get So I called up to the lady that I knew had a store. I asked her how she was doing, asked what was going on. She was very negative. She was like, Joe, I have to close my business, la da da da. And I was like, you know what? Have you thought of going online? Then she was like, yeah, but I really need someone to do it for me, and I really don't know who I can go to. And I said, let me do your website for you. And straight away she was like, definitely. That's so. Within my first call, I got a customer. And from there, she was like, do you need me to tell other people in my community that you do websites? Because they also want someone to do websites. And I was like, yeah. So she gave me 3 other...
Hell yeah.
So she gave me 3 other people. And then I came over to my uncle's house in Massachusetts because I was in Arizona. When I got here, I was like to my uncle, yo, I'm gonna have to use your car because I want to go out and see these people. He was just like, do you really want to go out during a pandemic? So I was like, I'll risk it. So I drove around, cold calling, seeing different people, and within like a week, I got 6 customers from Massachusetts. Bear in mind, I've never been in Massachusetts. I'd never stepped foot in Massachusetts. I didn't know anyone in Massachusetts. But I just went there cold calling. And another thing that helped me, that was because when I was reading these books, I fell through chapters where it taught me how to also speak. Because that's something that's not talked about by a lot of people as well. Okay, if you can touch up on that.
That is actually true. That is true. Which brings me to another thing that I always tell people. I think the one book that I still love to date, I read it all the time, over and over again, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like, did you get that, Sarah? You both have read it?
Yeah, you're the only one there.
Like Carnegie, I know that. That's a great book.
Because in there, they're just describing situations and how you can attack a situation or address a situation in a different way, and it could mean a whole lot and change a whole lot. Ever since I read that book, my life changed.
Willard, one more time. Give me the name of the book. Look out to each other. So.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
If you just search up Dale Carnegie, he's got a range of different books. And another book that you can add to that list, Tino, is I'm forgetting the name of it. Let me just check on my laptop real quick.
Whilst he's checking the name, you can also put down The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins.
The 5-second rule, okay, perfect.
The 5-second rule, because that one, it teaches you how to get over things like real quick. So like, for example, let's say you have a fear of, talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, with Joe, he was cold calling, and then probably had to meet some of these people, when he got some positive results.
Yeah.
But you've never met this person. So with the 5-second rule, she's got this principle where if you count down from 5 to 0 and then just do it, in no time, you've already done the thing that you were so afraid to do. You just literally dive in without thinking. So you just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, you're in.
You do it.
And, that book taught me a lot about breaking little habits that I thought I couldn't let go for years. So those 2 books, that combination was bliss, man. Like, now it's just a whole different thing. I address people differently. It's just the way you talk to people, because one thing I know for sure, people will never forget how you made them feel.
Absolutely.
They can forget everything else, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So some people don't get opportunities because they're good at something or whatever, but just simply because they make other people feel good. And a lot of people just, bite off that energy and then stop vibing to it. You can get a lot of opportunities just through that, before you even present yourself as, I am Willard, I am this, I am that, I'm that. It's just simply, just you as a person, and, just doing the normal things that you do, being respectful, just simple little habits. They can take you so far.
I found that book, and the book's name is The Way of the Wolf. I'll speak about that, but you wanted to say something?
No, just talk. Willard just talked about how you can get away with a lot when just when you're a nice person. I personally believe that you can get away with so much. When I look back in my life personally, I can't say I'm the smartest guy. I'm probably not I'm hardworking, yes, but there's so many things I look back at and realize that if it wasn't just for just genuinely being nice to people and, operating in a way that people appreciate, because, people will never, ever, ever forget how you made them feel. Like Willard put the nail on the guard. It's like you can do anything. People will forget what you say. People will forget what you do. But at the end of the day, people will never. That's why if you talk to people from high school, they'll still say Joe, and with excitement, because they remember the Joe in the high school. When people holler at me, they're like, Muchi, you know what? Like I saw them yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, even if I see Willard, I see Willard today, bro, I'm going to say, because I know how Willard makes me feel. It's good vibes. So just touching on what he's saying, where it's like, how you make people feel, how you, knowing how to deal with people is probably the most important thing. And even like the situation where we're at in the world, where, you know, we're very polarized right now in the world. You know, a lot of issues, it's kind of, you know, people are tense, people, you know, it's kind of difficult to put your point across when, you know, when you don't know how to handle people. You know, sometimes I can tell Willard, you know, I don't like what you did there, but I need to know how to approach him when I tell him, like, what? Willard, I wasn't really a big fan of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, that's definitely very true, and I love the fact that you brought that up. And whilst we're on the topic of speaking about money, and since Willard spoke about him being a life coach, let's talk about how money within the families is not talked about, because I know a lot of homes don't speak about money, and that's why a lot of people grow up not knowing much about how to handle their finances or what money is about. And I say this because I come from a family of two entrepreneurs. My mom is an entrepreneur, my dad is an entrepreneur. So they grew up teaching me about money. They grew up teaching me about how businesses work. And I know that's not common, because I had a friend who when he came over to my house and me and my dad were just having our general talks, he was surprised that we actually talk about money and all this type of stuff. And he was like, you know, you and your dad talk about money, your dad tells you about this stuff. And I was like, well, yeah.
But what do you mean?
To me, I said,
what do you mean when you say talk about money?
Yeah, from a very ignorant perspective, because I thought it was a common thing that families speak about money. And he was like, no, my dad never tells me about money. You know, and this guy is the same age as me, so we're all 22, and he's telling me that he's never been told anything about money by his dad, but they expect him to grow up knowing about this stuff. So that's the thing, is why in families, Willard, do you think parents don't really talk to their children about money? They don't talk to their kids about what to expect about money, how to handle their finances, and what they need to start doing early in their lives, instead of waiting for them to get degrees and stuff, and then maybe telling. And at that time, it's too late, because now you're in the thick of everything. When you get your degree, you're supposed to now get a job. You're supposed to now, you might have a child. So everything is now just coming at you full steam. You know what I mean? So it's hard to take in everything at that time. So why do you think that's the thing, Willard?
It's like that because the way our parents grew up, there were certain topics that were for people a certain age. So when they grew up, they weren't allowed to sit in conversations to do with money, or, you know, just simple logistics, or the, you know, daily runarounds of the house. Their job was to go to school, get good grades, come back and be a kid. See, so that has carried over. But then you were so blessed that your parents then became entrepreneurs. They understand money. They know that the kids needed to pass on the knowledge. So they passed it on to you. And then, you know, look where you are now. It's different for other families. In my family, we never really talked about money. But then it just so happened that I was given responsibility at a young age. I think at grade 6, I had the responsibility of taking care of my little brother. And like, this was literally taking care of him, because my parents were in different cities. So it was either us and the maid, or, you know, sometimes just us alone at home. You know, so I needed to take care of my little brother. Yeah. So they then gave me a phone. And then through that phone, when my dad was unreachable, people started calling me, and then I had to make certain little decisions. But from that, now I was more interested in, you know, learning how to run the business and all these things. So we needed to start having these conversations, because it affected them. You know, it affected the family money and everything. So that's how we ended up breaking that little, you know, that little cycle. Now they start talking to me about money. But for other families, it's like, you know what, this is none of your concern. We will do what we need to do. You get your job done, we'll get our job done. You know, that's how it works in most families. So most people grow up not knowing much about money. But the good thing is, this generation, if you see this generation having kids and not talking to them about investments, with the way it's now just publicized. Because also back in the day, there wasn't that much access to information, but now, come on, guys, it's everywhere. Even if you're not on social media, you know, you gotta hustle, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. You know, if you're not getting even if you're not an entrepreneur, you know, entrepreneurship is not the only thing in this life. You know, even if you work a 9 to 5, no matter what you do, you still need to understand money. You need to understand money, because if you don't understand money, if you don't understand how you get paid, if you don't understand why you're getting paid, how much you get paid, then that's an issue. You'll probably never be able to move. You get someone who has worked a job they probably don't like and could have gone to a better job, but because they don't understand the money and their value at that point, they're just not going to do anything about it. They're going to stick to that job and just continue for the next 20, 30, 40 years and retire and then call it a day. But it shouldn't be like that. So the more we encourage each other to actually, get educated, because knowledge is power. That's the thing. And by understanding money, you understand your position as a person. You need to know yourself so that okay, look, I'm a 9-to-5 type of person, because us entrepreneurs, we need people to work 9 to 5. So so if you're a 9-to-5 kind of person,
that's right.
So if you're a 9 to 5,
I just want to get it to
go ahead.
I just wanted to get Tino's perspective on this. Tino, when you grew up, did your parents talk to you about money much, or you didn't have much conversation?
I remember, I was just about to interrupt you early on, where I was just, everybody says talk about money. You know what do you even mean? Because let's say I'm a kid. Because personally, when I grew up, we never used to have discussions about money. I'll be 100% honest. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, if I'm a kid listening to about money, are you referring to budgeting, Joe? Are you referring to?
Okay, so what I mean by talk about, and I'll say it from what I learned from my parents, is the first thing my dad said to me, and I always remember this, is he said, "Son, we could go anywhere. We could go to Africa. We could go to China. We can go to America. We can go to Portugal. We can go to Mexico. We might not be able to speak their language, but we will still have to pay money to do whatever we want to do." So the common thing that's in this world is money. And if you don't know how to handle money, where to get money, how to multiply your money, and how to get money to work for you, you can never really get what you want. And that's what I mean by talk about money. I mean, yes, there is budgeting, but you can only save so much. The question now is, how do you get your savings to work for you in order for those savings to multiply themselves? How do you make your money have its own kids? That's what I'm really talking about. So did you ever touch up on investments? Did your parents ever talk to you about investing in any instruments, or how money can work for you in terms of using interest in a way, or anything like that?
Okay, perfect. Now you've described it. When I grew up, talking about money was never really a thing. And the one thing that really shifted my mindset was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's where you guys have talked about books. I think that book for me was the first time I actually realized, the importance of money. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you have to realize, as people, there's certain things we're passionate about. When growing up, it was always about hard work. Your parents are entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? And my parents, it was always the emphasis of hard work, and but we never used to really go into we talk about actual money. But when I started reading and I researched for myself, that's when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's when I started understanding the importance of money. And
when it talks about the quadrants and everything.
Exactly. And it talks about, investing your money. And, just instead of working hard, you need to work smart. So, it was just alternating a lot of life lessons that I got, and now focusing on how, especially when you live in the capitalist world that we live in Canada and, in America, there's so many opportunities that you need to take advantage of, And even Willard here, I want you to talk about, even just how you even said it in your thing with Createzim, where you talked about being in Australia and you were making more money in Zim. So it was a no-brainer for you to go back to Zim.
Yeah, I mean, guys, investing is the science of money making money. I learned that this week. Just that phrase, investing is the science of money making money. I was like, whoa, hold on. I don't know who came up with that.
Facts.
But,
Facts.
So we just need to take these opportunities. The problem is we're not open-minded enough. I was watching Ray Dalio and Diddy's interview. So Ray Dalio is P. Diddy's mentor.
Have you read Principles?
I've got it. I'm listening to it right now because I use Amazon.
Great book.
So yeah, they were talking about how you need to be radically open-minded. The thing is, when I got to Australia, the one common thing about Africans is they're very close-minded in the sense that they're afraid to take risks and opportunities that are presented to them. So one of the opportunities I got was to be involved in a company that was running in 24 countries at that time. And, I was like, it's a no-brainer if I joined this company and now I have a business that runs in 26 countries, or 24 countries then. Now it's 26. And I'm still in there. I'm not even in Australia anymore, but the income is still coming in simply because I said yes to an opportunity that I had no idea about. That's the thing. I actually had no idea what was going on. But one thing I learned was, if you're offered a good opportunity, say yes and learn how to do it later. I learned that from Richard Branson, actually. So I hopped in, and then after a couple of months, it was me, a Zimbabwean-born student in Australia, teaching.
Hey everyone, thank you for reaching this point in the podcast, and I just want to say I really appreciate all of you for supporting the podcast and supporting Incorporatezim. There's a little break, and I just want to say, for reaching this point in the podcast, I really want to say thank you. Please do give us feedback in the IG comments and in the IG DMs on our specific posts, and also what you would like us to ask different guests in the future. The podcast will carry on, but I just want to stop here and say thank you. Let's get back into the business.
You're only born, dude.
Me?
Only child.
Nah, Jack, bro, 12.
You lie.
Wow.
You're 12 on.
No, 3 boys and then the rest are girls.
12.
1, 2, 12.
12 on the 12. I think that's why your parents taught you about money. Magawandi some man.
Don't allow yourself, bro.
That's 12. 12, they had to rap us about bank because they knew, all of you guys, if you don't talk, all of you will just be a mess.
You have to make your own plan. You can't rely on them. That's what they knew. They're
like, too many for us to handle.
Some of you they have to just eat all yago.
That's a fact.
That's good. So what number are you?
I number 10.
But Muchio, don't allow yourself, bro.
How many are you? Are you just 1 or 2?
Oh, I'm just shocked. Sorry, I'm shocked. I'm number 4. We're 4.
Oh, 4.
3.
That's a
4
standard
boys.
number. The thing is, my Bali is a village lighty, so he believes in that Adam where you have a lot of kids. But then I have a stepmom as well, so it wasn't just like my con because dude.
That's what I was scheming. I was just you. I was like, they could push.
But you know what's dope? What's dope is that even though I have stepbrothers, we all get along. Like we all literally get along. We all rap together like every single week in the group chat, and it's not like any animosity or stuff like we all get along. So that's just like one of the best things about my family. Like I know it's rare because I know a lot of step families have that, animosity that you're not from the same clan or something like that. But my Bali's made it to a point whereby he's like, all of you are gonna get along. If there's anything wrong between you guys, let me know. We'll figure it out and we move on. So he's literally so emo about that. You all have to get along because at the end of the day, we're one family and we have to stick together. So that's one thing I love about having step brothers. Is that we all get along.
100%, bro. Like nobody wins when the family feuds. Bro. Nobody wins.
It's just a complete mess.
Salute, bro. This is the type of stuff when I'm saying, sometimes when you're having discussion, so you can, you need to start off with this stuff, so you can even get to the big thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, so that was great stuff that we're having before we cut off. But now I just want to switch the mood up a little bit. And we talk about money, we talk about everything, but Willard, let's talk about the social side that many people don't talk about, especially as an entrepreneur. How hard is it sometimes? And I know this because sometimes I distance myself from my friends because they don't really have the same if I should say, goals, and they don't have the same mindset that I have. And sometimes my friends may be the ones that have that negative connotation of, everything's going bad right now, whatever. And sometimes I distance myself from them, but we're friends at the end of the day. And that social aspect still has to come into play because, yes, he might think different. He might think the world should go in a different way, but it doesn't change the fact that, he's my homie. And that's something that many entrepreneurs don't talk about, is the social side of entrepreneurship. How can entrepreneurs allow themselves to still be social, but still keep their mindset in a different way, especially when the people they're social with think a different way?
All right. So first things are first, for me, peace of mind is probably my biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Peace of mind gives me the fuel to be able to do anything and everything because I'm calm, I'm at peace, I can see clearly. So anything that tries to disturb my peace, trust me, it's going out the window. Out. We're not messing around. So to all the listeners right now, I'm going to say this, right? When you start out, if you're going to become an entrepreneur or anytime there is growth taking place, it's inevitable that there's going to be loss somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that your friends fall out with family and whatever else, because they probably don't see what you see. Because there's this one statement, the one thing that annoys me when people say, Anna Willard. That statement. Because to me, you're saying...
That sounds deep.
That's deep. How you felt?
Yeah, because when people say that, in their heads, you're still the same person they knew in 93. That's the same person you are to them. Or they're in almost like disbelief that you're actually doing something, or you're saying these profound things, and they're like, who's this guy? We don't know him. It's almost like they can't really comprehend the fact that you've grown. And I've had a fallout with one of my friends because he just was not getting the amount of growth that was taking place in my life. And I was like, listen, if you're not coming with me, then get off the ship.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop you right there for a little bit, and I totally understand that, and I know growth is gonna happen, especially at this age, because there's so much information being fed to us. There's so much information we're going out to grab. I understand the thing of when you grow, you're going to lose some friends, but I want to spin the narrative, and I want to say, within that growth, is it still possible to save friendships but maintain your growth? Because yes, I can grow and say to my friend, you know what, I want to be a business person, I want to do this like this, but I can still be social with you when it's not talking about money and business. And can you still maintain those relationships? I don't know. I'll just pass to Tino real quick and see if he has anything to say about that.
No, definitely. Here you've touched the spot. Anything social is where I really have a lot of experience on, because I'm an extrovert. I won't lie.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy for me to connect with people. And lately, in my own life, I'm focused on Incorporatezim. I'm focused on my vision. And it's been very easy for me to distance myself from certain people. But one thing about me is the people who I grew up with will always be in my life, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too.
There's certain people that I grew up with. It's Simon, Martin, all these guys that you see me with. No matter, even we grow apart. I'm not saying we don't fight. We can grow apart, but at the end of the day,
when you see each other, it's still.
And when it's time for that real talk, it's because you understand each other. You can understand. I can understand he's going for something. I might not have an idea of what exactly he is going for and what he wants to achieve. But one thing about all my friends is we all have ambition. You see, the people that you originally met in your life are people who share the same qualities as you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's easy for you to maintain. I mean, look, you can grow apart, but at the end of the day, you maintain that solid base. That solid base where we can come to each other and be like, yo, this is what I'm doing, and this is the journey I'm on. you can see later on, and we can come together on the table and talk about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that. I actually like that. What I was gonna say is, it's good that you said, you guys all have ambition. So, which brings me to my next point. You need to know your people. Know your people. See, here's the thing. It's not like I cut off my friendships with people. Like if we were best friends before, if we were really close before, and then now I'm seeing that you're not taking my growth too well, hey, we're gonna deliberately take the distance. We're gonna make that gap, because I don't need whatever you're thinking, the negatives, to affect how I'm functioning. If I'm on a level where I'm really going for whatever I want and I'm vibing on it, and you're not willing to come on that level, even if you don't understand what I'm doing, as long as you're supportive, because it's something positive, it's something legal, then good. Come on board and try and support. I can see if not my homies trying, even though I know you don't understand, because most of the time as entrepreneurs, like, people don't see what we see. You see, the vision is different.
Yeah, but Willard, on that point, I just want to say to you: do you communicate to your friends that let's normalize the situation of speaking to each other, right? So you've just said he's not handling your growth the way it should be, right? Yeah. Are you speaking to your friend, or are you just going to distance yourself quietly, or are you going to sit down with them and say, I want to go this way, and I can realize that you're not really taking it too well, and I'll really like your support, even if it's distant support, because you might not understand, we might not share the same values, but I value you as a friend, and I still need your support. Or, to be honest, is it just that you distance yourself silently? Because I think that's something that people do most often, is distance themselves silently, when they could just have a conversation with their homie and be like, yo, I'm trying to do this, you're not supporting me, I really would love your support as my homie. And obviously if he then says, nah bro, I'm not going to support you, whatever, that's when maybe you can be like, okay, he's not for me. But I'm sure if he's your real friend, he'll understand the perspective and try put some effort to it. And I think not many people actually bring that conversation in, because it's uncomfortable.
Well, the question is, if that person is your real friend, do you even need to talk about it?
That's what I'm saying. Growth, that's the thing. The growth that you're experiencing, I may not know it or see it, because it might be mental in your head. So I can't really see it or anything like that. And you should be the one relaying your thoughts and feelings to him, to actually get him to understand that's how you feel about him. Because, I have a friend that's growing, and I'm also growing in a separate way. If we don't always speak, I won't know that he's doing it, especially now with being very distant from one another. He might be somewhere else, I might be this place else, but we're still homies. And I won't know what he's facing day to day. I won't know what he's handling. He might be going through some family issues. He might be going through something else. And it might be tough for him at that moment, to a point whereby it's difficult for him to actually see what's going on. He has a whole lot of other stuff going in his. So do you think that conversation is something that should happen more often?
To be honest, in my opinion, when my friends are going through stuff, we talk about it. We don't have to necessarily talk about what exactly they're going through. But I mean, my friends are really open, so we talk about what exactly they're going through. But some just say, yo, look, I'm going through things. But when I catch a bad vibe, for me, I don't know if it's just me, but when I catch a bad vibe, I catch the bad vibe. I know exactly what you're thinking. You see, the thing is, when you start to, like, I'm a people person. So when we talk, you can say something to me, but I know what you mean. Even if it's not exactly what's come out of your mouth, I know what you mean. I can tell by your actions, and I've known you long enough to know that when you say this, you mean this, and everything. You know what I mean? So some people, it's like, yes, they're not, they're not doing self-development, and they're not, on the same level as you when it comes to the growth and everything. But they're just people that are genuinely positive, and people that are supportive in whichever way. They literally take interest. Even if they take interest and they don't particularly understand what you're doing, they still support, and they're still there as people you want to take on the journey with you, because they're not disrupting the journey in any way. But then you bring those people, like I can listen to my friend complain, like, and say things are tough right now. That's okay. But if it becomes a continuous cycle, things are tough, the more you repeat that, now in my head, I'm thinking, maybe things are tough. maybe things are actually tough. What's going on? Because like guys, we can't we as much for me, I don't attach the number of years I've been friends with someone. I don't attach that to how I feel about them at the end of the day. If someone screws you over, dude, they've screwed you over. It's happened. See it for what it is. And then decide what you're going to do. Not brush off things simply because you've been friends for 10, 20 years. That does not work. Because I've met people, and over a space of 2 years, we've become super close. Now leading on to 5, 6 years, and we're still super close. Did I have to wait 10 years for them to be as close as my boys from back then? No. You see, so allow yourself to meet people and, get rid of what you need to get rid of. You don't need to necessarily, just shake them off and whatever without them, without their hearing their side or whatever. No, I'm not saying you just, pick up and drop. But there's certain people, this is bad energy. Every time I go to this person's house, I get there, I come back in a mood. I can't function because they say this, they criticize my work, and they don't give me solutions. I love my friends when they sit me down and they're like, Darama Agurasika. Because that right there is someone who's concerned. Bro, I'm not sure what you need to do, but what I know is what you're doing is wrong. So let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. The one time.
That's good. That's right. That's right. And
can I point something out?
You wanna add on that?
Yeah, I just want to add, especially because, the older we get, Willard, me, Joe, the more successful we get. You know what I mean? And the more successful you get, the harder it is for people to criticize what you're doing. You know that. Now, and that's why I always say you need those people from back in the day, because those people back in are the ones to, because many people jump on your boat, many people jump on whatever gravy train you're on, because people can see Willard Kachere marry Joe, Joe Kachere marry. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if you have people from back in the day who can come to you and be like, you know what, like, hey, let me give you a perfect example. Yesterday, I told my boy, we're dropping Incorporatezim. I sent him the thing just so a preview. I always send people who are close to me, like whatever I'm planning, to whatever they think about it. And
I do that as well, yeah.
So he talked to me, he's like, yo, I love the podcast, and he's like, but there's certain things that Tino, you didn't bring your energy. You know what I mean? He was like, you have a gift, you have a talent. You know what I mean? You can make people feel some type of way. You hype things, you bring that energy and that vibe. I didn't feel that in that podcast. That's what he told me.
And
you know what I mean?
You see, something like that, I wouldn't know.
What do you mean?
Like, I wouldn't know that Tino didn't bring his energy because I haven't known Tino for that long.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely.
So it takes someone else that you've known for a very long time to say Tino can do better than that. Because to me, I would be like, that was a good podcast, and the other person would be like, nah, Tino, I know Tino, he could do 10 times better than that, or he can bring more energy. But to me, I might feel like, okay, that's who he is. He's like that. You know what I mean? So I understand your perspective of having the long-term friends that know about you.
Absolutely, that's what I was just trying to put across.
Yeah. I think this is going out for nearly 40 minutes now, nearly 40 to 50 minutes, and it's been a good discussion. And Willard, I think we've touched on a lot of topics, and now I just want to maybe put 5 more minutes and just talk a little bit about certain things that you can encourage the youth to use, what type of books to read, what type of stuff they should listen to and do in order to better themselves and educate themselves on the future and where we're going in this world and how the world is changing. Because as a business person, you have to keep studying the future, even though the future is not there, because you have to learn the trends, you have to learn what's going to come, even though it's not there yet, but you have to kind of analyze and put things together. So what can you say are those type of things that people need to look out for and start learning about?
The first thing I need them to know is they need to start where they are. Stop
Mhm.
waiting around for money. Stop waiting around for that camera. Stop waiting around to get this and that. Just start where you are. Do the best with what you have in whatever circumstance, in whatever situation you're in. Do the best. Start there, because stories sell. Some people just started from wherever, people started you off in a garage and everything. That's what actually sells the whole story. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
they've gone on to do great things, yes, but where did it all start? In a garage. It's funny because you would never think that something could start off in a garage, but it is what it is.
100%.
I think the first the McDonald's contract was signed on a serviette, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The first McDonald's contract was signed on a serviette. Yeah. So start where you are. Stop worrying about everything else. During this COVID time, if you had so many business ideas, put them on paper. Don't just sit around and try and cancel 2020, because 2020 ain't going nowhere. But everyone else is moving forward whilst you are hyping each other up on social media saying let's cancel 2020. Start where you are, and then don't look for your vision in someone else. You be the founder and the visionary, and then people will join you. Because once you go into this life trying to figure out who understands your vision, or maybe you want certain people to understand your vision but they're not, and you're still trying to find it in them, you're wasting time. Start where you are. Collaborate. People, like, this is my biggest thing. If we do not collaborate, we will not achieve greatness, because there is power in numbers.
Yeah.
Someone else out there needs something that you have. They need something that you have. You need something that they have. Talk to people, collaborate, help each other. For me, I really love helping people, because one of my favorite quotes is by Zig Ziglar. It goes something like, in order to get to where you want in life, help others get there first. It's not exactly in those words, but it's something like that. So for me, I really love getting into people's business and, trying to help them. Like right now, I've been doing some free consultancy work for a lot of companies, because people are just not marketing products the way I want them to. Granted the opportunity, I want to be a consultant for Econet, like part-time, and just kind of give them a bit of direction. Some of these apps, do you know that Econet has created the best app right now that has ever been made in Zimbabwe? I'm not going to tell you the name, because then someone is going to hop onto it and do whatever. But but I see where they're going wrong. I'm not the smartest person, but I just see something they're probably not seeing, because otherwise they would have done it a long time ago.
Yeah.
From the start. But guys, help each other. Collaborate, especially collaboration. And even with helping each other, like I was saying, you don't have to be a millionaire to help other people. So that brings about, like, last week, I just made an announcement on the 17th of June. I was like, guys, I'm pulling up the Kachere Foundation. This is what we're doing. And in my caption, I said, I don't have to wait to be a millionaire to help people. Because even if I don't have the money, if I hit up Muchi and like, Muchi, I need $100 because I want to buy groceries. Hey, Joe, I need $100 because I want to buy groceries. Can we make a plan? And I know a couple other people that can give $100. In no time, we've got $1,000. We can go and feed. We can feed a whole, be it a home or whatever, an orphanage. You know what I mean? We can do that together. But you don't have to be a millionaire. Because even before I started this, I asked someone, I was like, yo, what should I call my foundation? And then this person says to me, yeah, people only personalize with their names when they've made $1 million plus. And guess what I did? That's what happened. Before that,
Champion.
Because we need to know which rules to break.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that. And to be honest, mindset is a very crucial thing, because I love Mondays. Mondays are probably my favorite day of the week, despite the fact that I make the most money on a Monday. But it's crazy, because when people look at me, they're like, why do you do Mindset Monday? I'm like, because my life totally changed when I realized that as soon as I start on Monday positive, my whole week is bliss. It's just the bomb. I don't have these issues of like just wait for Friday. Bro, I just want to grind, because Monday was good. Tuesday is going to be better. Wednesday is going to be even way better. By the time we reach Friday, was the weekend. We're good. We're in the best spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So how you start off the week is probably how you're going to end off the week. If not, you start your week. If you start your week on a negative note, By the time it gets so positive, it's already the end of the week. You've wasted 4 days. So people need to be mindful of that, and just supporting each other, like generally, like I've started this thing where every time I'm going to sign a contract, I go there wearing something locally made. And when I post it up, I'm just like, I was wearing this, that, how I feel about the product. And I'm like, yo, I support local. And I'm not doing this for any sort of clout or anything, but I'm just saying, I've been given the platform. I've been blessed to have quite a few followers that will be interested in actually going to check out other people's businesses. Why not refer them to support other people? It's like saying, hey, look, I only shop at Bon Marché. But if I move to a new area and there's no Bon Marché, what am I gonna do? Stop? No, I'm gonna go and buy from somewhere else. So it's the same thing, and we all don't offer the same services. So people just need to get in there, just support each other. Like I don't know how to put this across, but it's important that we support each other, because once we do that and once we come together, guys, I feel like there's a new wave. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's just this wave that's happening in our own country. It's happening. Whilst others are complaining, but it's happening. There are a number of youths that are doing so much.
Yeah.
And when these youths are put together, they are going to change the trajectory of this nation.
Definitely.
It's going to be crazy, because
100%.
I want to avoid the situation where someone I know is going to say, that's in a blazer. Oh, I know that. That's my boy. Like, because if you're close to me and you see what I'm doing, and if you're not making a conscious effort to be a part of the change, then you're gonna be the ones, chilling, supporting from the, not even supporting, but you're gonna be watching and be like, oh, that could have been me. I could be there with these guys. That's why you hear people then saying, no, you guys just left me. In Shona, they'll be like, man, but the opportunity is there. So let's really be very intentional about what we're trying to do. Let's work smarter, not harder, and let's change this world one mind at a time. Because, guys, I will tell you this: where we're going, the future is so bright. COVID or no COVID, political imbalance or no political imbalance, first world, third world, nothing. I love the internet, because the internet has given us
opportunity.
Opportunity. It's almost like a level playing field.
Yeah.
You've got millionaires coming out of South Africa. Yeah, South Africa is not America, ne? So I mean,
100%.
It's not that. You've got millionaires coming out of Zimbabwe. I've got a friend that I learned with. He's personally a millionaire, but people don't even know this, because when you look at everything and you're trying to think, oh, I need to be in this country to achieve A, B, C, D. Guys, listen, I could be in any other country right now, but I'm here. I'm in Zim, in the trenches, because this country has so much opportunity, and it doesn't even have to be the illegal stuff, all the legal stuff, things that you can do, but it all starts from you starting where you are.
That's very true, and yeah.
Wow.
So, Willard, that was really great, and Tino, I just want to ask if you've also got something you want to say before we end off.
Yeah, I just want to start off by thanking Willard, for giving us his time. The more, I always have to thank Willard, because I know as time goes on, it's going to be harder, because when we're standing at Chimchaga, you know what I mean? Everybody's going to be looking for it. So I want to thank you, bro. As I stated at the very beginning of this podcast, Willard, I won't lie, I'm inspired by other people's successes. I like to see other people grind, and Willard for me has been that person who I look at and I'm like, yo, boy, keep doing your thing. You know what I mean? So powerful points he's put across. And one thing I really love what he said is start where you are. You know what I mean? When I started Incorporatezim with the Brian, well, I put the idea across. But when I started it, it was so hard for people to even just come on the platform. I would talk to people and they'll be like, Jack, I know. You know what I mean? And if I allowed, certain things to get to me, you know what I mean? If I was just like, no, let me wait, until this, until that, I don't think
you wouldn't have gotten anywhere.
I wouldn't have gotten anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's so many, people will not support you from the go. You know what I mean? Even those that you love, people that I thought loved me, I even took it personal. Where I was like, bro, I'm starting something like Incorporate Zim. It's not even about myself. It's something big. How are you not supporting it? At the end of the day, it's for all of us. But
I totally understand that.
People would still not support it. And I'm like, what's going on? But I was like, no, I'm sticking to my guns and I'm going to keep on doing this. And as each day passes, the tribe gets larger and larger and larger and larger and larger. You know what I mean? So if you start where you are, whoever's listening, if you start where you are and you have that faith in yourself to keep on moving, to keep on pushing, trust me, you're going to get where you want to be. And there's no looking back with this. There's no looking back. We're going to keep on going. Incorporate Zim is going to get bigger. Willard is going to get bigger. Everything is just going to fly up.
We move.
We move. Yes.
We definitely moving forward. And
I love it. I felt that.
That's facts right there. And I just want to add onto that and just say, before I started my own things and started actually putting my life together, starting my businesses, working hard, I used to, I think this was probably 2014, 2015. I was still in high school, but I would see a lot of people doing well. I don't know why, but I was always that guy, even in high school, that was looking and studying successful people. And I was admiring them. And that time, the conversation around people was that successful person. If someone has money, someone would be like, there's something illegal that he did. It always has to be he did something illegal. Or, in Zimbabwe, they say, Aga uraya someone for them to get, that's the... And it always used to affect me because I always used to say, why is it like this? Why do people always think for him to get rich, he did this? And now I kind of understand that there's this culture that's just there of hate on him because he's doing well, and I don't understand it at all. And I just want to say the future is bright because this generation is changing that. People are becoming more supportive to Zimbabwean talent. A lot of Zimbabwean artists, entertainers, business people, they're getting a lot of support, and this is what Incorporate Zim is going to do, is going to keep highlighting people. And like Absolutely. I always say, like I even said in the first podcast today, and Willard, you should have a listen to that as well. I said, guys, our job doesn't end on the platforms. Our job is, we want to see people collaborate. Like Willard said, if you see an artist that we highlight today and you are a video director or producer, hit him up. Say, where are you? Is there a place we can link up? Let's do something for the culture. And sometimes, and also another thing I want to influence and talk about is, let's not rush to charge each other, especially Zimbabweans. Yes, it's good to make that money, but sometimes it's good to just collaborate in order to bring out something that you guys have both made. Because I know a lot of people, because I hit up someone and I was like to him, yo, we should collaborate and do this. And he said, oh, I charge this much. And I was like, okay. So, but the thing was, I had most of the equipment and I was using most of my talent, and he was just adding in something else. And I said, we're using all my equipment, but I'm the one paying you. And he was like, well, we don't have to do it. And I was just like, no, we're going to do it. I'll pay you. But I'm just saying, understand that, we're using my equipment, and I want to do it for free because I just want to produce stuff for people to see. So that's another thing that I've realized, is sometimes meet people halfway. You don't always need to run out and do it. I just want people to network, to collaborate, and go out there and just keep bringing out the best in everyone, especially. And you never know how one comment can boost someone's day, because someone could be going through a lot, and if you just give them a low nudge and say, keep going, keep your head up, this, it really could go a long way. So to end off this podcast, I just want to say thank you, Willard and Tino, for both coming on to the podcast. Thank you for giving us our time. And Willard, we definitely will want to have you back sometime, because there's still a lot of stuff we need to talk about, man.
Thanks for having me, gents. And hey, anytime you just hit me up, I'm game, always.
All right, so Tino, thanks for coming on. Willard, thanks for coming on. And to our listeners, thank you for sticking out through our second podcast. And we just want to say thank you again to our listeners for following Incorporatezim and for supporting every single person that's highlighted. And it doesn't stop here. Like Tino said, it's only way up from here. It doesn't stop here. We're going to keep bringing you guys more content, more creativity, and more knowledge, because it's time for all of us to boss up and game up. So I hope you all have a great day, and thanks for listening. Peace.
Cheers.